So today we're going to be animating logos using After Effects and Illustrator. We want to take just a regular print logo and give it some animation for video use. So today we'll animate this Adidas logo that has the three stripes here, and we'll begin by working in Adobe Illustrator. So in Illustrator, I'll create a new document, and because I'm going to be using this as my composition, in After Effects, I'll go over to the Film and Video tab and go to the HDV HDTV 1080 and use that as my guide. Looks a little bit different when you open it up. It has a transparent background. These green rectangles that you see here are what's called the title safe, meaning that anything that's going to have words on it should be inside of that, and that'll work just fine. I'm going to bring in my Adidas logo as a guide. So as I bring that in here, I'll put that about where I want the logo to be. Maybe scale that down just a little bit. Hold down my Shift key so I don't stretch it. And over my Layers panel, I'm going to lock that layer in place. And I'm going to start with a new layer here for my rectangles. I'll begin by drawing one of the rectangles. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to make the rectangles be vertical. Let's give that a fill color of white with no stroke. And we'll select that and do Control C, Control V to paste. Get those about the right positioning apart from one another. Click and drag to select them all, and now I will rotate, get them lined up the way they need to be here. So let's come in here and then select them a little bit more, rotate a little bit more. That looks pretty good. So I can start moving each one to get them in place where my logo is going to be. Just using my arrow keys to get them into place. That looks pretty good. Now I need to cut them off, and to do that, I'll bring up the Pathfinder tool, go up to Window, and come down to Pathfinder. I'm now going to draw a rectangle that comes across. Let me set the fill color to be different. Let's set that to black. I'm going to draw that coming across the bottom here of each of these, and then I will hit Control A on my keyboard to select everything, and under Pathfinder I'll say divide. In doing that, right click, ungroup. After you do a Pathfinder, it'll group all your objects together. Now click off of the shape so nothing is selected. I can delete that rectangle and delete each of those bottom pieces, and that gives me the three pieces that I need. I'm going to take my original layer now that I have that the way I want and delete that. And now I have my three stripes, which is all I need for this particular animation in Illustrator, because I'm going to put the text in within After Effects. Each of these need to go on their own layer, so I'll create each layer and then simply come into expand my layer 2, and I'll move that up. I'll maybe call that rectangle 3, and I'll move this one into layer 2. We'll call that rectangle 2, and we'll call this one rectangle 1. I'm going to save this as Adidas right there. Click on OK, and then let's go into After Effects and create the composition. So now I can take that file and I can import that file that I just created, and there it is. And I want to import, this can show up here, sometimes it'll show up as a pop-up, but let's change that to be composition, and because we made it the same size, that composition will be here. If I double click on it, and I have each of my three layers in here. So to animate this, we're going to add another layer for them. What I want to do is have each of these stripes sort of rise up from nothing. And to do that, I'm going to use a black rectangle. I'll go up to Layer and say New Shape Layer. And on that shape layer, I'm going to draw a rectangle for these to come over. And I want to make sure that that rectangle has a fill color of black. I'll choose black down here in the corner. And my stroke, if I just hold down my Alt key, I can toggle that until I get to no stroke. I want no stroke. So essentially against my black background, that's invisible. And now what I can do is for each of my rectangles, I can animate them one at a time rising up. So let's go into this rectangle. Now I'm only going to animate position, so a quick way to do this, rather than just expanding this and seeing all of the different characteristics that I could animate, I just want position. So if I press P on my keyboard, only position will come up. So now what I would like to do is, let me see, let's go in my composition. Let me, where's it got me here at? I need a bigger composition. Let me go up to my composition settings, and we probably need about 5 seconds. So that should be 5, like that. And now if I zoom out, there we go. Now I can see what I have here to work with. Okay. Let me expand this out a little bit more. Alright, so this is gonna, let's play that. These will need to expand out, so let's expand those all the way out. We'll see what we need as we go along here. Okay. So, I want to bring this out. Let's just take it to 1 frame here and let's just see what happens. Now, I'm going to click on my stopwatch for position. That's where I want it to end. Let me come back to my beginning and then drag this down. Now you see that line that gets created for the tween. I want to try and keep that line parallel with this line over here. So as this comes up, that'll be just in line. Click on my rectangle 2 and hit P. So as this one's finishing, I want the next one to come up. I'll go out to 2 here and click on my stopwatch. And let's bring that back to here, and let's move it down, keeping that in line as well. I can see that my rectangle here should be a little bit bigger to cover that up. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. 1, 2. And let's start on the third one here. Click on this final rectangle and hit P. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. This rectangle be scaled up as big as I want. So let's go ahead and do that all the way off the screen here. And let's take it out to where we want it to end here. And let's click the stopwatch, come back to where I want to start that animation, and let's bring that down. Because it has farther to go, its animation will be faster. So what I can do here is probably shorten this one up. And there's probably going to be some adjusting that you want to do here as you go. And that's basically what that looks like. We can fine-tune some of this stuff as we go along. And that'll be good for those shapes for now. I'm going to add in the text, grab my type tool and click. The font that I'm using here is this TEX Gear Adventure, and I have that available for you to download as well. So I get that the way that I want. That could probably be a little bigger in font size, so I can click and drag this up a little bit. I'm going to use an effect now. I don't know if you notice on the logo, but that eye comes right into the corner of that shape. Okay. And let's zoom out here on my timeline by pressing minus just a little bit. And let's make these go all the way the length here. And I'm going to add an effect on here that's under my effects and presets. If you don't see that here, effects and presets, go to that little arrow there and choose effects and presets. And I'm going to use, you can come into animation presets and go to text, but there's a lot to choose from. Under 3D text, I'm going to use this 3D rotate in by character. I can also type that in here, 3D RO, and that'll start bringing that up. And what I need to do is just drag that onto my text. And you're going to see the effect that that has. And it'll bring that in right where I had my playhead. You'll see where that's at. That looks pretty good. I can select these keyframes here and right click and go to Keyframe Assistant and do Easy Ease. That'll make my animations just a little bit smoother. They'll kind of slide and slow down when they do. And that's it. Save my composition and I'm ready for the next one. Good luck.